to go over today. So, first off, next month we won't be here. We're going to be a field day. So, we'll talk about that in a minute. And I think I'll talk about this next. We've got a whole bunch of things to go over. For those of you interested, we have been talking about offering an extra class this year. Yeah, you're going to do that for me, are you? We're going to do it a little differently. Nathan, thank you. It's good to see you. Stand up. This is Nathan West, professor at Weber State University in electrical engineering. He's been helping us with our classes. And if you want to know something about hamtronics in a way that someone like me can understand, talk to Nathan. He's awesome. He's also invited us to his house, and we go to Weber State for these classes. And we are planning on doing that with the extra class as well. However, Stu Turner, who provides all our materials and the books, the study books, he has an extra class study book that he has just released. He has also just released an online course that he teaches. So the course is online. You purchase the course, you go through it at your own speed, and then we will provide support for it. So this year, in August and July, August and September, what we're planning to do is offer support to a home study course. So if you purchase this course, you get all of his materials forever. It's a one-time subscription, and you forever have all the materials that he offers. And I presume that means upgrades to it, because upgrades to the class.
That's only new. If you've got the old one, it's not going to carry over.
I don't know the answer to that.
I bought last year.
Extra class?
Yeah.
Online?
I bought the book, and it seems to me there was something about online with it, but I never used the online.
Okay, you bought the book. I bought the book too, but the book doesn't give you the whole thing. Okay. So you actually have to go out to his website. And I'm going to play his description of what he's doing so that you can understand what's happening here. Okay, enough of the marketing. I purchased the course because I wanted all that reference material. And I have the license, but this is going to help me get some more understanding. And anyone who's yet to take the extra class license will understand that it's a whole different beast from the technician in general. Far more, goes far in depth in a lot of things. So anyway, what we plan to do to support anyone taking this course, I have created a new Facebook group. It's called OARC Licensed Class Elmers. It is a closed group. The purpose of this group is for anybody who's taking any course, technician, general, or extra, to be able to meet with Elmers. So if you would like to join this group as an Elmer and respond to people who have questions, go out to OARC Licensed Class Elmers on Facebook, join the group, I'll approve you, and we will become an online Elmer group for anybody And it'll probably extend beyond classes, but anybody who has questions, we've got great people here with great knowledge, and it'd be a great way to share it. In addition to that, working with Nathan again, and we're hoping about middle of August we'll be able to get back into the university once it opens after the break. And on Wednesday nights, we'll invite people who want to come, who have questions and need support on the class, to just come and ask whatever questions they have. It'll be more of a seminar instead of a teaching presentation, but we want to provide that. We'll Zoom it, and people on Zoom can ask questions as well. So between the Facebook group, the opportunity to go up to Weber State or to participate in those Zoom sessions, we'll have just the weeks of August and September to do that. Our regular exam session will be the first Wednesday in October. And so we're hoping that there'll be a few folks that want to take an extra exam. Any questions about that?
How much?
I think his course is back about 50 bucks. But for what you're getting, I'll tell you, it's a lot of information.
That'd be really good if you start out as technician and move up through the ranks, because then you get everything for free after that, right?
He probably does have online technician general courses. I haven't investigated those. We've just been teaching them, and we're just in the last couple of weeks of a technician course, actually. Mel?
Does his course have an area where you can download any printed study aids or materials?
He has lots of reference information, and I think you can download any of it.
Okay.
The only reason we can see this is because I own the course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to dig in there and show it to you.
What's the name of the course again?
Extra license course. It's his online version.
Okay.
So if you go out to amradioschool.com, that's Stu's website. He'll have all that on the splash page there. Any other questions about this? We want to make it as easy as we can for folks to advance in the hobby, and this is one way I think it'll work pretty well. There's so much material to cover that in even 2 months, if we were to go up to Weber State and do it in a classroom presentation, I don't think we could cover it all in that period of time. So if you're able to do a little bit of study each day, check in on the group, Facebook group with questions, and then come on Wednesday nights if you're able. I have cleared my calendar on Wednesdays now. Well, Wednesday nights. I gave up 4 nets, count them, so that I could teach and give exam sessions. I'd show you my calendar, but you wouldn't believe I'm retired if I did that. Okay. Enough of all of that. So our next VE exam session will be here on the 5th of June. We are just finishing up a Zoom technician class. We've got 2 more weeks to go. That will take us right up to the 5th of June, and then we'll have those folks come. By the way, our VE team went down to help the Davis Club last Wednesday. They just needed someone to come and help them. In that exam session, we received 7 new technicians and 1 new general. Everybody who came got what they came for. It was awesome.
What time?
Our exam sessions start at 6 o'clock. And we have them posted out on our website. So there's a lot of information on our website. Probably one of the most underappreciated, underutilized, perhaps, resources that we have. In July, we're going to do a fox hunt. We're still working on all of that. We'll probably finalize some of that at the board meeting next month. What else do we have here? Oh. Now, some of these folks aren't here, but if you are here, please come up. Barbara and Jay. Reed here today. Let's see Reed. Larry, Robert, UGD, Stan, is Scott Carlson today? I didn't see. Rick Hanson is here. He's been Reed, I'm looking for it. Rick Lawrenson? No, I'm just getting people lined up here. Gary Goodman. I think Gary's doing a marathon today. Scott Whitaker. I think he's not. And of course, Gene and Mike, who put together the Golden Spike map for us. And we appreciate all that they've done for us. We want to recognize those who came. If one of you here was out there and Mike didn't recognize you, to turn you in to me, come up and let me know so that I can make sure you're recognized as well. So we have little certificates just to recognize those who were helping us out. It's an amazing thing that we do out there because it gives us exposure to the public and it gives the club an opportunity to actually talk all over the world, except when propagation's like it was on Saturday, and it was pretty quiet. So, anyway, thank you all, and let me get these up. We do so many good things as a club, and sometimes we just don't get recognized as much as maybe we should. In July also, on the 12th and 13th, is Hampton Zion down in St. George. We will have a booth down there, and some of you have actually volunteered to come and help me with the booth. Please send me an email so I can remember who you are. My brain is old and forgetful. So shoot me an email, find me somehow, text me, and maybe if you come up after, I'll write it down someplace, and I hope I won't lose it. I text myself a lot, but I don't dare delete that text. There's a lot of information there I need. Okay, I think that's all we've got. So remember Field Day, June 22nd, starts there at Slayerville Park. And then, our YLs, you are invited next Tuesday to join the Davis County YLs. They're going to have an in-person meeting at Nichols Park down in Fruit Heights. They'll be programming radios. We'll have folks there to help us with that kind of stuff. And they're just going to get together and have some fun. They've done that a few times, but we can invite them to join them this time. Val, you're up.
prefer not to use this. Can you hear me? Louder? Now can you hear me?
What? You gotta be talking for a full period.
I have three things. Mike Fulmer, our club activity director, couldn't be here today, and he's written a speech that will be in the newsletter, but I want to read it to you to kick off the promotion for our upcoming field day, after which I have two short PowerPoint presentations from previous field days. Special events, field day, by Mike KZ70. If you listen, you can hear Mike in this speech. I sure could when I was reading it to myself. The largest amateur radio special event, operating event each year is what is called Field Day. It is where clubs and groups of hams get together and set up their HF stations or other kinds of stations and make contacts with as many people and other hams or groups as possible across the country. It is just a fun activity. It originally was designed as a portable station practice activity. Hams would set up a portable station with emergency power and operate for 24 hours. It still has that function, but has grown to be just a fun activity in general. It is always the fourth full weekend in June. It starts on Saturday noon and finishes at noon on Sunday. This year it's June 22nd and 23rd. Some clubs or groups are very serious and really work to put up the biggest and best antennas and radio setups to make as many contacts as possible. Some groups just get together and have a party. The Ogden Amateur Radio Club is in the middle. We set up two stations with two antennas and keep both of them going for 24 hours. Well, on Saturday both of them are going. Late Saturday night, participation dies off. Same thing on Sunday. There are lots of regulations about how to get extra points. Things like setting up a VHF station, satellite station, and many other things that all count as points. It's designed to be a very public activity. There are points for inviting dignitaries, such as government leaders. There are points for advertising. He says, last year I set up a 6-meter station and made a few contacts with other clubs in Utah. As mentioned, our club sets up two stations. One large club from California, some large clubs from California and other East Coast stations set up more than 10 stations. I've heard some that had as many as 15 stations. They fill a park with wires, antennas, and radio setups of all sorts. We use Marriott Park, just west of the IRS building on 12th Street. The city allows us special permission so that we can stay all night. They have been very accommodating to our club over the years. They have a nice Bowery, a kitchen, and that we can use. As long as they leave the sprinklers off that night, we are okay. They try to remember to do that. Yeah, we've had one year where that didn't happen. We start setting up around 9 a.m. on Saturday, the 22nd. The goal is to be ready to go by noon. We operate the radio and visit with each other throughout the afternoon. Come help and set up, and then go away and return later in the day if you want. You can come and go if you wish. The club will have barbecue dinner around 5 p.m. No steaks, just burgers and dogs. Bring a dish to share. Also bring your own plates, utensils, and cups. We really need people to come out and help us set up. He has that in bold. I'll repeat that. We really need people to come out and help us set up. So show up around 9 a.m. and if you need to leave, feel free to go away and then come back later. If you ever wanted to hear what an HF band sounds like with thousands of stations on the air at the same time, this is the time. It gets a little crazy sometimes. Mike Fulmer, KZ7LAK. Putting that in the newsletter. I think I have the slowest laptop on earth. This year it's the fourth Saturday. All of our events are usually the third Saturday, as you know, but June is the exception. We don't have a meeting June, but the week after we normally would have a meeting is our field day. So come out and enjoy it.
Thanks, Val. And now for our feature presentation. James here tell us about mesh.
Hi, I'm James Alton, K7DEV. If you bear with me a moment, I've got to stack my laptop onto this existing pile here. All right, so I'm James Alton, K7DEV. With over 20 years of experience in IT, I've developed a strong background in software development and hardware expertise. I'm proficient in both Linux and Windows, and I have my A+ and Network Plus certification. The relevance of the Network Plus certification with AREDN is that it's very network heavy. You have to understand a lot of the TCP/IP background, and, a little bit different from your normal ham. There are some things in ham that require TCP/IP, like maybe if you're operating DMR or that sort of thing. So I'm passionate about expanding the mesh network community here in Ogden. While Davis has a thriving mesh community, Ogden's just starting out. I'm excited to help our local community grow its network. So I want to explain to you a little bit about what AREDN is. And I think the best way to do that is to show you a video that got me interested in AREDN. Right, so that was a great video, and it got me interested, and the only problem I had when I saw that is there's a map that shows who's available in the area, and there was nobody available in Ogden. So I thought, like, I have to grow this community and give a presentation on it. Unfortunately, I'm a software developer. A bit of an introvert, but I'm trying my hardest to give a good presentation, so please bear with me. All right, so when you hear the term mesh networking, what comes to mind? Many of you might think of systems used to extend Wi-Fi that are also called mesh networks. For in-home coverage in offices, as they're sold as commercial mesh systems. You may have come across systems as well, like Meshtastic or Zigbee. They are some popular examples of mesh networking that help enhance connectivity. Today, however, I want to introduce you to AREDN, the Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network. AREDN leverages the OLSR v1 protocol for mesh routing, and it's built on the robust OpenWRT platform. This makes AREDN a powerful tool for ham radio operators, providing reliable and resilient communication solutions. Let's talk about mesh networking and its relevance to ham radio. Unlike traditional networking, which relies on centralized infrastructure like the internet and cell towers, mesh networking uses interconnected nodes for efficient data routing. For ham radio operators, this means using radio frequencies without relying on the internet or cell networks. This setup is particularly beneficial during emergencies. Oh, sure. No problem. Yep. Find more like this?
I thought the noise coming through there was because you were in the half of your dish.
Sorry. It could be.
It just started when you walked over here, so I thought it might have been you in the panther thing. Sorry.
The RF ghosts. So I'll just have to speak louder so I can speak over the noise. So they're particularly beneficial during emergencies, as it ensures resilient communication without external infrastructure. That helps. I'll just have to speak really loudly. The RF goes. So one of the exciting applications of AREDN is its support for voice over IP, or VoIP. With compatible hardware and software, you can achieve crystal clear voice communication that can surpass the range of traditional non-mesh VHF, UHF ham radio, which is you'd only get the distance of 1 point instead of point to point to point. You have the flexibility to use either a hard phone or a soft phone for VoIP communications. A hard phone, such as one like this, which connects using an Ethernet cable, might be a device such as a Grandstream or a Cisco phone, providing a tactile device that can be particularly useful in emergency situations. On the other hand, a soft phone is a VoIP client that can be run on a Windows computer or even on a mobile phone. This offers flexibility, especially if a hard phone isn't available at the time. By integrating these devices into your AREDN setup, you can create a versatile and robust communication solution for ham operations, whether you're at home, in the field, or managing an emergency response. AREDN provides the underlying network infrastructure that can support remote cameras through advertised services. This can be particularly useful for site monitoring, such as on a ham tower, crowd monitoring, which has been done before for some relay races, and emergency response situations. While AREDN itself doesn't directly facilitate remote camera administration, it provides the underlying linking to real-time video streams via services advertised on the network. This makes it easy to access camera feeds from the AREDN web interface. AREDN also supports efficient file sharing within the network. You can share various file types, including videos, logs, images, documents, mobile phone apps, and even maps. This capability enhances project collaboration, event coordination, and information exchange. The user-friendly file transfer interface facilitates real-time updates and information dissemination. AREDN provides more than just data transmission. For example, you can play chess with other ham operators. This setup is simple. Connect to AREDN, launch the chess web application, and find an opponent. This feature fosters community camaraderie and allows for technical experimentation. It's a fun way to combine strategic thinking with ham radio skills. And it also has background in ARL, where they've exchanged chess moves using HF across the world, where somebody will say, okay, I'm going to move my chess piece from here to here, and it does that. So on AREDN right now, I have a chess server running, and it's on open source software, so there's no cost involved, there's no company even that's trying to make money off of it. So it's totally within the ham regulations of open, unencrypted communication. Mesh Chat is a text-based chat application designed for AREDN mesh networks. It's hosted by one of the nodes, and messages are synchronized between nodes in the same zone. This allows all users on the network to view and participate in the chat. This interface is user-friendly and accessible via a web browser, enhancing real-time communication and information sharing, especially during emergencies or events. So, Mesh Chat is currently used by the Davis County Amateur Radio, and they have a weekly net where they'll actually check in, and similar to VHF, UHF check-ins, everybody can see on there, some Davis County KD7 has checked in. And if there was an emergency, you could use that to coordinate, just as you would on any normal voice communication. Let's consider some recent events. For example, in February 2024, AT&T experienced a nationwide outage that left millions of customers without cell phone service for several hours. Starlink, despite its advanced technology, has had multiple outages over the years. Xfinity has also faced numerous outages, affecting many customers. These incidents highlight how even the most advanced and widely used services can fail. It's important to note that AREDN is not intended to replace the internet, nor is it typically used to route internet traffic. However, in an emergency, AREDN can be crucial in disseminating information when the internet is down. This makes it an invaluable tool for ensuring communication resilience during critical times. That said, there are some important limitations to be aware of when using AREDN under a ham radio license. Right here at the bottom. Communications must be unencrypted, non-commercial, and there can be no cash compensation involved. Additionally, operators must identify themselves with their call signs, which happens automatically when you're using the existing AREDN software. There's a process that'll automatically beacon out your call sign every 5 minutes. That's more frequently than required for ham license, but it's just trying to be proactively careful there. So operators must adhere to power limitations and frequencies allocated for amateur radio. In conclusion, AREDN leverages. Actually, I'm going to skip that here, and I'm going to give you a demo. Can I have a volunteer? Jim, would you like? So Jim Southwick here has helped me program every single one of these devices with AREDN firmware.
So we better buy them. We've got to get these sold.
Yes. I'm selling them at cost to you because I want to grow the network. So these are $71 a piece. And one of these boxes expands into one of these. And these things put out about 60 watts EIRP of power. So it's quite interesting too how the input is only about 7 watts DC, and the effective power though is 60 watts. You don't want to be closer than about 2 feet from this per ARRL.
So are you going to call us? Or?
Yes, you have to have a mobile phone with you.
Yep.
So I'm going to try a live demo thing here, which may or may not be a good idea. We're about to see.
Connect to this on my Wi-Fi. Right there.
Do you happen to have the LinPhone application? Or can you get that in the App Store real quick?
It's called LinPhone.
LinPhone. So this is a soft phone that you can use from any cell phone. Supports iOS and Android. And Windows.
So if you have one of these set up and point it with another one or on the network, you Wi-Fi from your phone to that antenna, and then you're talking over that network.
Yes.
With this versus that hardwired VoIP phone, but you can do that too. Now, can you talk to that VoIP phone from this phone?
So the way this works is there's actually 2 radios in this radio. One is a 2.4 gigahertz radio with an omnidirectional antenna. The other is a 5 gigahertz radio with a directional antenna. The 5 gigahertz radio is actually MIMO, so it actually has 2 radio chains in it as well, vertical and horizontal. The 5 gigahertz radio in this right now is being used for AREDN mesh. Your personal cell phone cannot talk on that frequency because it's operating, right now I'm on channel 182, which is 5.91 gigahertz, which is in the ham band, but Part 15 devices can't access it.
Yeah.
So the way I have this set up is that the 5 gigahertz radio is talking mesh, the 2.4 gigahertz radio is presenting an access point that any phone can access.
In fact, if you get on your wireless Wi-Fi right now, you'll see his, on your phones, you'll see that dish with his call sign.
It's a K7DEV 5G fixed -2, yes.
And then you can connect to that.
If we get one of these packages, what does it take for me to set that up at my house and make it work? Do I need to hook it up to the network, or do I just hook it up to my radio? Or do I need to program it? What do I need to do?
So, one of these devices has a beam width of about 13 degrees, and the dish is 23 dBi. So ideally what you want to do is you want to plug all that into an application called Radio Mobile. There's a few other applications for link estimation. So these devices work best when they're point-to-point, if you have 2 of them when they're pointed at each other, or point-to-multi-point, which means you have a sector antenna like this giant one here, where you have a sector and many other nodes pointing up at it.
So can I take a second? So Justin and I actually, he's a block away, we set up a point-to-point, just a test. But what would be ideal is if we could get like a point-out promontory or something where we can all see, and we all shoot out to that.
Okay.
And then we're all on the network talking to each other.
So what Davis County is doing is they're doing something similar, they actually use Antelope Island, and a lot of them are pointed at Antelope Island's antennas there. From Ogden here, per everything that I've simulated, I'm not able to hit it, Jim's not able to hit it. It's really tough to get to Antelope Island from here, RF-wise. But Promontory is perfect.
Promontory.
Or anybody up in Pleasant View, if there's an antenna up there shooting down, it's got a real good line of sight. So actually with mesh, you can have multiple links, and if one of those links fails, it'll just use the next link. So ideally, you'd have Promontory and you'd have 2 points that you're connecting to just in case one goes down.
That promontory pointed at Antelope. And then,
Yes. That'd be awesome.
and then that's our link to tie into Davis County. And then anyone who can hit promontory can hit Davis County, and our network goes like that.
And if you can't hit Promontory, you can hit one of us that can hit Promontory.
Correct.
Just go on from there.
The problem is Jim and I are tucked up in a Fox Canyon kind of thing, so it's very hard. I probably would get one of these and set up on my mom's house, and she got a ticket.
That'd be
Because she's in
perfect.
North Ogden.
So the way that one network can connect to another network, like if we want to kind of link to Davis, you can actually tunnel through. So I've actually tunneled through with my computer and coordinated with Matt over there in the Davis County group. And once you do that and you exchange all the information and get it linked up, you can use a tunnel as well over the internet as a temporary means, just as the presenter was talking in that YouTube video, how tunnels can be used temporarily at first.
I don't have an account, so.
Oh, that's, so actually, when you install Info, you don't need an account, you just say back. So it says enter a number at the top, you just tap there, and you actually say SIP, colon, and then type the IP. Let me give you my IP.
Okay. It's LAN phone, LAN phone with the app. Yeah.
If you connect to fix 2, that's the one way over there, and I'm connected to this one here.
Okay, I'm gonna consume that.
You're on fix 2. Actually, sorry, the mobile 2.
Can we connect to that?
Mobile 2 is the one that's far over there. I'm on fix 2.
Okay. That's it?
We're trying to make it easy for the demo.
Okay.
So your cell phone is not completely worthless in an emergency if you have one of these.
Yes. So in fact, if you want to protect against any sort of apocalypse or something, and
Zombies.
if you happen to have one of these devices and a cell phone that's in really good EMF shielding, it could possibly be very valuable in such a situation.
So get an old microwave and stick all that stuff in your very backyard in case there's an empty.
Maybe, or a couple of them, or different cell phones. Or, I mean, you could have these 2, but then it's one more device that you have to manage and know where it is. And the cell phone can have multiple uses as well in an emergency.
Solitaire.
Yeah.
10.54. .131.
Okay. Join?
Yes. They're hungry for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You actually don't need to have any configurations. So the configuration is you see registration.
These doctors, they each know their own little zone. And they don't know 1/4 inch over each zone. There's no multitasking.
Sorry about that.
Response to it. I mean, it may be for a specific purpose, but they also got
Yes, I'm going to mess around with it a little more at the end of the meeting if you want to see me demo that. I'll just give you the last slide. So in conclusion, AREDN leverages ham radio frequencies to create resilient networks. Its mesh networking capabilities extend the range and reliability of communications with applications including VoIP, remote camera access, file sharing, and mesh chat. Now I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Also, I'm selling Ubiquiti LBE 5AC Gen 2 nodes, pre-flashed with the latest AREDN firmware at cost to help spur community development. Feel free to reach out to me at my email address there. And I'm going to show you as well Davis County.
Somebody put a river on there. Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, and also, it's making it better, they're turning down the flower.
So you can see here at the bottom, this is what it looks like when you're connected up to a large network. It actually says 81 devices. I've seen that go up to 100. So if I go to mesh status, it's going to tell me here all of the different nodes that you can see. Now I'm connected through MA7RF's link. He has a tunnel there in Davis County. He's got a camera as well. Very cool. So he shares a view of his house. There's also the Davis County Mesh Chat. And this is that weekly chat I was talking about. It tells you the people that are last, when they've been last seen, their account call signs there, N7IE, he's on there quite a lot. So they put a summary of their Aries meeting every week. All sorts of really cool stuff. They also have a file share. They have an emergency CAD, which is meant to try to emulate the emergency responders. Like if there's nothing available, it's kind of a primitive database for them. Is there any other questions that I can answer? Yep.
Yeah, what frequency band did Davis County standardize on?
So Davis County off of Antelope Island actually uses 3 frequencies.
Oh,
they
okay.
use 3 gigahertz, which is kind of being deprecated a little bit. They use 2.4 and 182, 5 gigahertz. So they have all the different frequencies there, so that way it's just the most, you know, if somebody shoots an antenna at the island, it's probably going to connect.
Okay.
So the SEC took part of the 3 gigahertz band away. When that
Yes.
happened, it didn't work very well for us. We had it out of latency trying to get out to Hello, but it hasn't worked in the 2 years that I was working with them. But the 2.495 pretty much is working.
Cool. Yes?
Where do you go to see that introductory video?
The video I was showing, that's the guy with the Swiss accent. He's a cam as well.
Can you put together a document?
Yes, I can.
Those links, and then we'll just get it out on our website. Put it as part of our club meeting today, and everybody will be able to have all the information.
Sounds great.
Including how to contact you
Yes.
and how to purchase fish.
Or if you want to watch the video of the video, Jason will have that out.
Jason will have that out.
So another really neat thing about this is that, you know, I'm offering these dishes here so that way you can get up and running immediately. If you just purchase one of these and you want to have 2 of them and play around with it, you can. If you want to go to Amazon and purchase them and go through a lot of trouble, you can do that yourself too. There's nothing that stops you from just going to ardenmesh.org, downloading their firmware, and having a go.
Unless you're a programmer, that is not an easy process. So if you want to do this, if you think you want to do this, buy it now. Yeah,
You say you have those all.
Yes, they are free flash for any licensed ham that wants to use them. It took us about 20 minutes to do each one, so it was not a light process. Any other questions? Yes?
So at Weaver State, we have an antenna up by the mountain behind the football stadium. I mean, what kind of equipment would we have to put up there to make a repeating, or whatever you want to call it, for this thing?
A mesh node?
Yeah, that people in Ogden could aim at.
So what I would start with in that is I would start with the radio mobile software or any sort of RF link estimating software, and I would try from various points and see, like, is it going to connect from this one to this one? Because if you have a really high point, something that we discovered is if you have a really high point, it's possible that the topography is distilled in an unfavorable way. I would put maybe a sector antenna or a point-to-point one, but if you have a point-to-point one, you really want to know who you're connecting to first, if that makes sense. So I have the radio mobile software with every member's call sign programmed into it. It took a long time to do that. I'll also have that available if anybody wants to see that, play around with, you know, if you go from here to here, is it going to work? There's a lot more hams that aren't part of this club meeting as well, like, and it's possible that one of them might be interested in establishing a link with you if you reach out to them. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yep.
Are there only specific routers that can be flashed, or?
Yes, good question. There, if you go to ardenmesh.org, there's a list of compatible devices. So in an older iteration of this same thing that was about a decade ago, it was more like you buy a Linksys 54G and you could just flash it. And they've gotten a lot more standardized now in terms of ubiquity, MikroTik. I think there might be some Cisco hardware in there, but specific manufacturers and specific models that work well with the Arden firmware. So it's possible that if there's something that works with OpenWRT and isn't on the list, you might, like, I would go down the beaten path there.
So is the Linksys still a candidate?
It is not. There's no Linksys routers.
I saved 2 of them just in case.
The main reason why that is the case, though, is that those Linksys routers tend to have omnidirectional antennas. And
They're super low power.
yes, so omnidirectional antennas are great for around your house, but like if you're not able to see that omnidirectional antenna from the other side of Ogden, like there's not a large chance that you'd be able to see it from the other side of Ogden using mesh as well. So
The only way those work on large scale is if you put a linear amp on them.
Yes, and the linear amp costs around $1,000. So I'm selling these for $71. So, any other questions?
All right, for 71, I'm just going to look
Yes.
at those boxes. I don't know how you have that big.
That
box.
It comes apart.
So this box actually has this entire antenna in it. They've done a very good job at packaging it. There's 3 dish components here that I'll screw together. This is a Ubiquity one, which I think is just, Jim actually got me interested in this specific model, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I've been playing with some other models, but that's the one.
This has to be outside and
Yes, you mount this using a standard satellite J mount, possibly off your home, or if you have a large tower that you can put it up on, any way that it can just mount onto a pole mount. Any other questions?
Your email address again?
It's James Alton. Actually, it's on QRZ. So if you go to my QRZ page, K7DEV. DEV is for developer, yes. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, Sam, appreciate it. And we look forward to having all this come out on our website here shortly, so we can,
I think my wife's going to buy me.
something in here somewhere.
I figure out where to put
I
it.
had these things.
That's the way to do it. She buys it, makes you put it right.
If anybody has not picked up their Utah VHS Society booklets for their members, I have them over here. And I've also got some of the call sign plaques and things you ordered last month.
So we have just a couple more things. If you're interested in what the area nets are, here's a list of them. If you're interested in service opportunities, here's a list of some that go out through the end of the year. If you're interested in joining the club or EORL through the club, we have applications there. Pete's got some donuts for us, so please eat them. And for James is going to become an official Elmer for MASH. So there you go. Thanks, everybody. Remember, our club meeting next month is at the park for field day.